to episode 3 of GamersGalaxie podcast. I'd like to welcome in our very first guest to the GamerGalaxie podcast. We have a very special friend of the IMX community. We got Tomahawk here. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing awesome. It's really great to be on this podcast with you, D-Suze. I really liked episode 1, and very excited for our conversations.
Awesome. Hopefully the audio issues didn't mess you up too much, but I know Rubik and I had a freaking pretty good laugh about it. I did the editing of the audio, and I uploaded the wrong file, and after the fact, we were listening to it and just having a good laugh about it at my expense. So, but such is life. I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time out of your day to spend a little time talking about IMX, and you are one of the official IMX advocates, which is pretty cool. Little title you got there. I'm not jealous or anything. So, no, it's funny because I was asking Rubik about it, and he's like, "Oh, you didn't sign up?" I'm like, "There's a sign up." So he got me the form to fill out or whatnot. So I might have to fill that thing out.
Yeah, it feels like Web3 as a whole is kind of a little disorganized, right? Like nobody knows what the secret recipe is for anything. Everyone's trying to build, trying to improve, which is great. But then in terms of community, it's like, okay, how are we going to structure things, and how are we going to empower the community? I think for me, that's a huge thing. And that IMX is starting to do that. And I also, when I saw that some people were posting that they were official IMX advocates, I was like, what? How? I'm supporting them for 2 years now. Can I join too? And also Rubik kind of sent me towards the forum and stuff like that.
That's so funny because, like, all right, so at least I wasn't the only one that was like, okay, where do I sign up? And yeah, because it's been over 2 years of supporting the IMX cause, and yeah, now I have to go and fill that thing out. So tell me a little bit about yourself, like what got you into gaming and IMX or NFTs in gaming, and how did that all come about?
Yeah, no, awesome. So I guess first of all, I'm Canadian, so from Canada for people in the audience that wouldn't necessarily know. Um, the fact about me that is kind of a little different than most people is I grew up in a pretty big family. I have 9 siblings,
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm the second oldest. I'm in my mid 30s now, so that's was kind of rare. So I think from that, I've always been used to really helping, supporting, uh, kind of the family, helping out with the chores, doing all kinds of stuff. So I'm always, I
Yeah,
guess, kind of what I
being
know.
second oldest and that many in the family, or in the family, it must require some good community skills. That's for sure, because it's there's no way there's going to be enough bathrooms at all times, no matter where you live.
Yeah, no, we definitely lived in a smaller house, and then eventually we were capable of moving to a little bigger house. So I did have my own room for a short period of time, but the rest was definitely a whole lot of sharing, and fighting over gaming consoles was a huge one. I guess I could start there. The gaming started quite young. I know we had some type of console before the original, the Nintendo. It wasn't an Atari, but it was something plugged into a black and white TV that the only game on there was Pong, and you had some joystick that you had to, or a dial that you had to turn, and then it would move the little Pong palette.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of our first foray into gaming, and then when we got the Nintendo, that was like a game changer with the Mario and Duck Hunt that came with it. And then my parents were super strict on what we could watch in terms of cartoons and stuff like that, or what games we could play. Like it couldn't be any violence or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because the first exposure I had to RPGs was my mom playing Dragon Warrior and Final Fantasy on the original Nintendo, but we weren't allowed to play.
That
And,
is blasphemy. Oh
so,
man.
so when it did get old enough that we could now play these games, obviously I played the crap out of Final Fantasy Dragon Warrior on the Nintendo, but by that time we were also moving on to other consoles as well. We kind of jumped the Super Nintendo era, I guess, and then I went to um, the what was it, Nintendo 64. So played a lot of 64, and then I really went full in when Xbox came out. So I never geared towards the PlayStation. I jumped from the Nintendo 64 to Xbox, and that was like the end of my high school years, beginning of college, and literally like all our time was spent gaming. We had so many Halo LAN
Oh yeah.
parties. We'd have like
Yeah.
four TVs, the four TVs were on the screen, and we were all connected.
You're describing the same thing that I did with my friends as well. So it sounds like we're right about the same age. I'm 36, so mid 30s as well. We would totally do the same thing. Um, and one of the things I remember too, the only reason I actually did have a PlayStation um, was because you were able to mod the PlayStation to where you could play burned games. Like you could download and burn a CD and be able to, or a DVD, and be able to play those games with a modded PlayStation. And that was the only reason really I got it, and I was able to play basically any game I wanted to. And I played quite a lot of the that Twisted Metal game, and that's really all I really played on PlayStation. But then um, I was a lot like you. I geared more towards the console as well. But I had a unique situation because both my parents were in the computer field. So like my dad was a computer engineer, and my mom was a computer teacher for elementary school, kindergarten through sixth grade. So I know that feeling of gaming. The LAN parties were probably some of the best times, hands down.
Yeah, yeah. I see where you got your tech skills. Yeah, I definitely did not follow a path that gave me any tech skills. But yeah, so that was pretty much my gaming, and then after that, like real life kicks in, right? So my college degree is in accounting. So as soon as I was done college, kind of got into the government, got a decent government job, and just been working in the government more specifically. I don't know if I should say this, but in tax collection
Oh,
for
great! Now we have a specialist when it comes tax season next year to do your crypto taxes. We're gonna have to have you come on.
I mean, what's funny is that yeah, I'm a specialist when it comes to collecting tax. But what people can claim and this and that, I have to research it like everyone else. But I do have a few more helpful contacts in that sense, which is nice. But yeah, it's quite all over the place in terms of taxes, cryptos, and this and that,
Oh,
and
I know,
so many
and
countries are doing
it
different
depends on
things.
where you live too. So
Yeah,
it really wouldn't help too much, other than maybe some things to maybe avoid, but best practices. But yeah, so when it comes to NFTs and gaming, like what brought you over to this side?
yeah. So if I continue my story, I'll try it and not go on
Yeah,
forever. But
keep,
yeah, so real life kicks in, and I start gaming less and less. Um, Mainly just I don't know. I think my parents, my whole childhood, they've told me that gaming was just waste of time. I was just always wasting my time gaming. And then as you grow older, then you're trying, you're chasing the girls, and you're trying to get a girlfriend to get into a relationship, and start your real life journey kind of thing.
gaming
So
kind of
that
gets in the way of that, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
it sucks. Adulting sucks sometimes.
100%. So I kind of I was gaming a lot less, to a point where it was almost non-existent, and that's when I kind of switched to mobile gaming, because mobile gaming would is something I could still get that gaming itch out, but it wouldn't take away too much from my real life responsibilities, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
something you can kind of get in, a game or two, in between meetings, or at lunch or something like that. It's not too invasive.
yeah, so basically did that, and then where NFTs, crypto come in, I guess it was a bit after the start of the pandemic. I was kind of trying to start managing my own finances a bit more, just trying to buy shares and this and that. And then my girlfriend had a friend that was investing a bit into Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, and he seemed to be making some decent gains. So I kind of dipped my toes in there for a few months, made little gains, just a little investment. Don't invest more than you can lose, which is what we always tell people, and it's definitely true, because I think where we're at now, I think most people that have been in the space in a few years that are not like extremely good traders or this or that, I would say most people are probably down,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is just the way it is. But yeah, after investing a little bit, I kind of told myself, I'm like, okay, I should probably research like what is this? What is Bitcoin? What is Ethereum? What a bit more about the tech, a bit more about what it does, why it's a thing, is it actually going to change the world, and this and that. So after just doing like quick little research, it led me to gaming. Like gaming popped in my head, like it was digital ownership. Like digital ownership really rang the bell, and that led me straight to gaming without even reading gaming anywhere. And then I started right away to search on Google. I'm like, what is the best blockchain game? Give me the best blockchain game. I need to try this. The idea of owning your digital asset just made too much sense, and it kind of brought value to gaming, to all that time that you're putting in. Yes, I mean you're always getting entertainment, and when you're gaming with friends, you're getting time with friends, but that's still a span of time in your life that could you be doing something more productive, based obviously on what you want to accomplish in your life. Yeah, probably. Now digital ownership is like, I feel like at least I'm getting something. I'm part of an ecosystem, and I get something for the time I put in the game, and then I can decide what I want to do with it. So it
Yeah.
just made sense, and then
Absolutely.
that's
Like,
what
how
led.
much time do we put into our digital identities already, right? And how much that is a part of our lives, and to have ownership over that is a big change in thinking, and how it's perceived, and that I see that as a big shift as well as to why owning your assets in game actually translates much larger to other things like that.
Mhm. So yeah, so that led me. So the first game that, well, obviously the first game that popped up in the search was Axie Infinity, and then I didn't even try the game. I just looked at it. I'm like, it's not for me. It's not my style of game. I mean, if some people like that style of game, that's fine. For me, I've been used to playing AAA games and this and that, and that's more my style of gaming. So it didn't appeal to me. And then I found Guild Guardians. So Guild Guardians was really the first project that I dove into, joined the community, and then from there just started just going deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole of Web3 gaming, and yeah, it's a whole new world that most people on the outside have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I I remember early on joining the Guild of Guardians community as well, and seeing you around, and um, I was trying to feel around and see, is this a game that has staying power? Is it really going to be, you know, what they said it's going to be? And it's been an awesome journey to kind of see unfold and be a part of. I was able to do some of the beta testing or alpha testing early on, and for Guild of Guardians, which was really cool to be able to be a part of that and see how they're doing things and uh, the way they're implementing it and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's a part of Web3 that I really love is, I mean, it's hard to do, but if being involved in a project early, if done right, if empowered right, your community can feel like they're actually part of building this project. And that's how you build passion for your projects. That's how you build like true active members, true community contributors, people that are going to support you for life just because you went out, you reached out and you asked them what do they like. Would it's I don't know, it's something that seems so easy, but
As a
it's also
gamer,
very hard.
as a gamer, I haven't had that experience before.
Yeah.
I've always had the experience of, hey, here's a game, and in about 6 months we're gonna ask you what you like about it, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna screw all of that shit up. Okay, and literally that's the experience I'm used to. So at least in Web3 right now, um, at least they're asking up front what you know what you do and do not like, and then whether or not they implement the changes is a completely different story. And that's with any game. That's how it's going to be. Specifically, if you're talking about competitive, for something to be truly competitive, um, there's a fine line in the sand of um, balancing certain characters and also like a pay to win style
Mhm.
rather than actual skill based gaming. There's a lot that goes into things like that, and it I don't know if how much the average gamer thinks about that. I mean, the average gamer typically would not think about that. And that's one of the things that this kind of gave me an insight uh, to be able to see.
Yeah, yeah, same here is, you hear that game development is hard, and for me, I'm a complete outsider when it comes to building games. Um, but at least so a lot of people are probably like me, and they jump into the space, and then the expectations are so high, right? Because we don't know how long it takes to build a game, or how much skills, or how much all of that stuff. But at the same time, we're jumping into the space early, and we're investing in some of these projects more than we've ever invested in gaming,
Right.
right? So obviously, we're expecting more, but we don't know how game development works. So I think for what I've seen over time is the expectations from the communities are sometimes so unrealistic, and that is, what do you do as a project when you have all these different, people in your community that, want different things, or they're expecting different things. How do you manage that? So that to me is something that's a lot harder in Web3 versus building a game in Web2. In Web2, you build your whole game, and then when it's ready to launch, that's when you bring in people to test it and this and that.
Right.
But now building with the community is like, all right, well, we have all these different people expecting different things. Um, so yeah, I've always been more of the optimistic kind of person, which really helps. Actually, it hurts my wallet in these times because I look at the positive things in the projects, right, and I try to focus on that. But at the end of the day, if we want to be realistic, 95% or more of all these gaming projects, of any gaming projects, Web2, Web3, whatever, are not going to be sustainable. They're not going to make it, right? It's only that top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% maybe that are actually sustainable and can live on as IP for different years, for multiple years.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you kind of have to keep that in the background all the time when you're in this space. Is like, yeah, this game may be cool, this, that, but be careful, how much you want to invest, because it's risky.
Yeah, and then that's always going to be something at the it's got to be at the forefront when you're doing the research. Is how sustainable um, is the game, the team, and what it is they're delivering and how they deliver it. And that's a big thing. So in terms of Guild of Guardians and things like that, what was it about the team and the game that made you really want to get more involved?
So at the first, I was really looking for mobile, something on mobile. RPGs, I've loved RPGs throughout my life. I'd say Baldur's Gate is probably the RPG I played the most. I played some Diablo 2. But yeah, RPGs I've always loved. So that drew me in right away. And then when you look at the NFT, or how they were planning to integrate the blockchain aspect of it, made a lot of sense and was different from a lot of other projects. What I really like about the way they're looking at it is that it's more of a guild based game, which is really cool for any RPG style. If you think of WoW or whatever, it's all guild based, so it's community. So you're going to be playing with people and stuff. And I really like the crafting, how they had developed the crafting element.
Right.
And integrated the NFT. So basically, the way it works is everyone's doing their dungeons, on their side, single player at the beginning, doing all their dungeons, and then they're collecting materials and cubelets and crafting materials, and then people pool kind of their resources together, and it's the guild that crafts an item, and then the item would go directly on the marketplace, and then everyone that contributed resources to crafting this item would get a percentage back of the cut once the item is sold. So to me, that just made so much sense. It was cool. I'll be able to create a community where, we can geek out on crafting and on figuring out the metas and crafting the best stuff and all of this.
Yeah.
So that to me really appealed to me, and I really wanted to get in to test out like the digital ownership side of it, get in to build a team, a guild to basically try to be one of the best or at least be as successful as we can in the game, and then just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, awesome. And that's like that's basically the the high level of how the game works. When when you decided that like hey like what moment was it, I guess, or do you have a moment when you were like, hey, I want to get more involved, like I want to be able to advocate, I want to be able to learn enough to where I can help educate other people or onboard other people.
Yeah, so I guess at the beginning it was more like I just want, a guild, 20 people, and we're just gonna have fun. We're good game, uh, kind of thing. Then I think the moment where I became a bigger contributor or builder is I think Guild Guardians had way back, they had announced a partnership with the Sandbox where they would have some characters from DOG in the sandbox. So me being, super excited about anything blockchain gaming, I went to research the sandbox right away. I'm like, oh, sandbox. Well, this is cool. This is like a mix of Minecraft and Roblox, but on the blockchain.
Right.
So I kind of signed up for a quick like what was it a sandbox course where they would teach you how to build in the sandbox, and I got in. So surprisingly, I think they were choosing like 10 people and they had like 600 entries. So,
Oh
and
wow.
this was a free course. It was like a boot camp. It was probably a 10-hour boot camp over a week. So we really dove into, how to build, a game, a basic game, obviously, in the sandbox. So the whole time I was building this little mini game, I was building it in the theme of Guild Guardians because
Awesome.
because I was thinking, okay, well, Sandbox is another metaverse. If I can advertise Guild Guardians in the sandbox, well, you have all these users in the sandbox that might come and try my game here, and then that might bring them to the Guild Guardians. So I just built it for fun, not even necessarily advertising it at all. And then StepFam from the GOG community, because we're chatting here and there, and he I guess he found the game in the gallery in the sandbox, or I gave him a link or something, and then he played it, and then he made a YouTube about it, and then other
Awesome.
people started playing it, and then it kind of went into that. That's when the GOG had their ambassador call out kind of thing. So then Stefan was like, yo, you should apply to be an ambassador. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try. So then I got in as an ambassador for GOG, and then that's kind of the moment where I switched my mentality to, instead of just having a group of 20 friends that were going to play this guild in this game, why not try to onboard like my whole country, and furthermore, like, let's onboard as many gamers as we can to blockchain gaming, because it's going to give them so much more than what they're getting now. So that's when it switched to, okay, right now I'm advocating for the space. I want gamers to know what blockchain gaming is, that it's coming, and it's going to change the world, and the perks, the benefits that they can get out of it.
I love it. Yeah, and that you nailed it. Like the overall benefits, um, definitely outweigh anything. Um, and as the games come out that are really those top percentage ones, like you were saying, the ones that are actually going to make it, as they come out and show the world, like, hey, this is fun and it's a game first, more than just a way to earn money, that's where I see everything really taking off.
Yeah, fully agree. I think we're close. We're close, and it just takes those one or two like Web3 IPs that you and I and whoever probably have their top bets. I don't know if we want to go there, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's just a matter of time. And when it comes down to getting quality, the quality always outshines the negative stuff, and um, there's a lot of uh, shadowy figures, if you will, in the Web3 environment, and with Immutable X and the way they're doing things with their games, and how they're building, um, it's been very transparent the entire time, and I think that's what has kept me wanting to stay with the Immutable community and infrastructure, um, because I know a lot of times it can feel very like seedy or scanny in some of these communities, or in some of these different games in Web3, but I haven't really had that feeling coming from um, Immutable, and how they're approaching building games like Guild of Guardians, Gods Unchained, Illuvium. Well, and I mean the Illuvium team is killing it. What they've been doing, and how they've been under promising and over delivering, and that's the biggest thing. Um, saying, "Hey, we're making a game that does this," and now I'm looking at this beta, and it's visually absolutely stunning. And um, who was it the other day? Chris Clay, he tweeted a picture of what was it, Tomo, on like the loading screen, or on the home screen of Guild of Guardians,
yeah,
and it looked gorgeous, and that's mobile. Like, he just screen capped his phone, and it's a good indicator of what we're looking for in the future.
yeah, and I agree. Like I've definitely been keeping an eye, watching Illuvium, and I've had a chance to. I own a T1 land, so I've been playing since the beginning. Illuvium Zero, which is on the mobile. I did play some of the open world beta, and also the auto battler. So really, what they're building is amazing. Quality wise, it's absolutely stunning. It's such a skilled team, and when you compare a team like that and what they're building to what others are trying to build, it's sometimes it's not even comparable.
I agree.
Uh,
Yeah, there's certain things. Well, specifically too, because Overworld is so uh, really in depth, and they've been building for quite a while
mhm.
as well, and they also did something that like no one else has done, which was the Dutch auction, which was really cool to participate in. I actually got two tier 2 lands during the Dutch auction, and I actually sold one, and I still have the other. So I've been playing that as well, and they keep doing things that are innovative, and like changing the way you look at what a game like this does.
Yeah, and I think they're the first ones to truly like you really use the blockchain elements, right? Like they have a DAO, they have a council, they're doing a lot of things decentralized. They're literally building and leaking everything they do to the community.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and that's true
so
too because like you have a true governance that was built, you know, early and is really there to benefit everyone in the community they've shown that early on that a it's doable and b that it doesn't have to be as intricate or overcomplicated as a lot of people were making it.
yeah, so definitely have. If I look at like PC gaming, which I'm personally not a huge PC gamer. If you can make a PC game that I can play with my Xbox remote, I will play it. If it's only playable on PC with keyboard and mouse, I'm telling you, I'm likely not going to play it. But that's just my style of gaming. Everyone has his different style. But in terms of PC game, like if Illuvium is way up there in my bet on onboarding the first million in terms of PC gaming.
Oh yeah. And then their partnership, the little collab they did with GameStop was pretty cool. Um, and they were able to get they had 10,000 new emails uh added to the list after the first day of sales.
Oh yeah, because everyone that buys one of the disc GameStop discs gets access
Yep,
to
exactly.
the beta, which once people like gamers jump in and they see the quality that's being built that will rival any quality there is in Web 2. These people behind building this are nuts. They're pros at what they do, just like the top studios in Web 2. So
Yeah,
so yeah.
absolutely. And that's the thing. You're you're gonna start seeing with studios like what they're doing with Illuvium and stuff. You're gonna start seeing or hearing people just stop calling them Web 2 or Web 3 studios. You're going to start just say, hey, this gaming studio is doing, A, B, and C because
Mhm.
it's it's really not about whether it's Web 2 or Web 3. It's, hey, are they doing anything innovative and uh, frankly like cutting edge for the gaming community?
Yeah, fully agree. Definitely. Yeah, so that's definitely one of the top. And yeah, so super excited, man. I love just discussing games, discussing this. I mean, don't
So
get me started on Crusty Ages because I could go for another hour easy on that game.
I know, I know. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll have you come back and we'll talk across the ages. I wanted to say thank you again for taking the time to come by and talk a little bit about it. And maybe what we'll do is we'll make it a recurring segment where we have Tomahawk come on and talk all things that he's excited about.
Yeah, that would be great. And Aradina too. I mean,
Absolutely,
they're
no,
open
absolutely. Like
open
because there's way
beta
too
opening.
much. There's way too much to cover in a single episode. So I mean, we got Aradina. There's um, shoot, we didn't even touch on Gods Unchained. There's what else? I Momoguro. I don't know if you played that at all yet. Uh, I mean, there's so much stuff to cover. I wanted
Yeah.
to see of the characters in Guild of Guardians so far, what which one is your favorite?
So my favorite would have to be like the first NFT I ever purchased. So it's a legendary, a founder legendary, and I happened to my first spawn was Princess Leia. So
Ah,
she's Glade. She's a healer, which is usually what I love to be a support in a game, a healer, or whatever it'll end up being. But yeah, light element. So yeah, I'm quite excited. And I happened to get two, so I bought three Founders Legendary, and I happened to get two Leas, and the third one was oh man, I forget his name, but it's the eagle, the water eagle character.
oh yeah. Which one is that? That's was it Aurora? No, I want to say Aurora, but it's not.
Aurora was an esport character. All
Yeah,
the
no,
esports ones
Rufus.
were pretty
Rufus.
sick. Oh, Rufus, yes, Rufus. So Rufus pretty kick-ass too, range character, and obviously by testing out the early builds, I had a chance to see what they do. But as we know, Guild Guardians pivoted to a different genre of play style. So yeah, I'm excited, a little scared
I,
to
yeah. So
see what's.
what do you think about that? Like, just before we head out, give us a little bit of your take on the pivot.
So if I try and back myself away from the situation and not think about the thousands of dollars of assets I have in Guild of Guardians, if I look at it as a business decision, I think the core team of Guild Guardians backed by Immutable. So the big factor here is that they're backed by it's an Immutable game studio title. So the big
Correct.
factor here is they're backed by Immutable. So as the vision, they've always had the vision of we want to create the playbooks to onboard millions of people into Web3 gaming, and this is our mobile RPG title to do that. So for them, the key here is they want a mass market game that'll onboard millions. And I guess again, I have no clue how it works when you're building games and this and that, but I guess they got to a point where it was okay. I'm not sure if this game will maybe achieve the vision we want in the time we want, and that probably led to them looking for solutions to either accelerate their current game or looking at different options, and then that led to I guess the change of game studio and then more to an auto battler. Um, for me, what's as a gamer, so as a business decision, um, if I think they're following this, they still have that end goal, so that's good. As an early investor, that's kind of tricky because it's like everyone supported them, bought these assets based on the ARPGs they were to build. So there's definitely mixed feeling there when it
Right.
comes to what was promised, if you want, what we invested in. But then if you look at it as a simple gamer perspective, let's say a gamer just coming in right now and looking at different styles and not owning anything, not owned, then either or could work. Will their auto battler have more success? Maybe who knows? Is it kind of easier to build? I don't know about game building, but I would think it would be slightly easier to build. Could they deliver a game on time for Q4, like they promise? Following the couple delays they had in the past. Let's hope so. So yeah, right now it's just like a waiting game kind of thing, and for me is yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it just to see and test it out for myself. Okay, is this fun? Is this a game that I'm into? But before then, I don't think it's fair to judge too much when we don't know a whole lot about what's going on, uh, and just for me, I like give me let me test it out before I at least make my opinion on it. Okay, it's a Switch. The previous game to me was heading in the right direction, but there was always this like secret sauce. What makes your game so much more special, or why does your game stand out?
Right.
And to me, like that key element, that wow factor, I didn't see it in the early builds of Guild Guardians. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the game, and it's a game I definitely would have played in this and that. But did it have that wow factor that took it over the top, or
Right.
it got me addicted to it, or this or that? No. I mean, and that's what you're looking for, and that's probably the hardest thing to achieve is getting that thing that'll get people addicted to it. And I think and you almost need full game ish sometimes to get to that point.
Right.
And what sucks with Web3 games is none of them are full games. They're all beta. So yeah, you get the concept of the game loop, but sometimes the wow factor is a combination of things. And
Right. When you're in that loop, right? Without the benefit of the full game, um it's very repetitive, right? And
Mhm.
how do you get a full understanding of how that makes people feel if they're doing the same thing over and over again, right?
Yeah. So no, I'm excited. It's hard as an ambassador for Guild Guardians and other games. It's like sometimes moments like these where we're like definitely in uncertainty territory. So it's almost better to just step back a little, keep supporting, but it's hard to create events and create excitement when you don't know what's ahead, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's very true. And Robbie has said it the entire time. How are we going to onboard, the next 300 million gamers? It's not with block. It's not the tech. It's making a good game and making consistently good games. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I want to thank you again for taking the time to come by and hang out. It's been super fun. We could probably make several hours worth of content. Because I enjoy, speaking with you and getting your insight on this stuff. Um, like I said, we got to make it a recurring thing. That way, we can get Rubik on the interview as well. Um, and that way, we can get some of his take on things, because I really do appreciate Rubik's input, because um a lot of times we play kind of like a devil's advocate type thing,
Mhm.
because like you said, in certain situations as an advocate, how do you speak to certain things that you just don't know the answers to yet? And that's something that, on the podcast we like to do. Like, I like to go through these scenarios so that um it we get to see a greater depth into how these things play out, so thank you very much, and we will definitely be reaching out to you again soon to come hang out.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me. It's been a blast. There's so many topics that, like you say, we haven't had a chance to touch on. So yeah, definitely be looking forward to continuing the conversation and also hearing what your other guests coming up will have to say too. It's really cool that a lot of us are in the space for the right reasons to move things forward. There's so much money flowing in. There's so many intelligent people in the space. Like for me, I'm just a supporter. I'm here as a community enabler. I would say I don't have no specific skill set other than my passion for gaming, for the tech, for digital ownership in gaming, and moving anyone I can, any project I can that I truly believe in, and supporting them in any way I can. That's
And
and other things,
that's good enough
I
for
may dip
me.
my toes.
And that's good enough for me, man. I'm not expecting any Web3 credentials or anything like that. And that's how I like it, is getting, honest feedback from people in the community, people that are going above and beyond to be involved, because this thing is not going to build itself. Um, the community does not get a direction to go in based off of just one or two people in the community just telling them, oh, this is what you do, and deal with it. No, like, the voices need to be heard. The conversations need to be had, and this is like a great avenue to be able to do that. So again, thank you so much, and hope to have you back soon. Thanks again for listening to Gamers Galaxy, and hope to have you back next week.